Hello everybody, welcome back to another video here on my channel. In today's video, I really wanted to do another reading vlog, and as you guys have already seen from this thumbnail, I wanted to do it over a duology by Colleen Hoover. It starts with us and also it ends with us. Technically, it ends with us is the first book, and then it starts with us is the second book. As I'm starting this video, it's actually the middle of August, and a couple days ago, or I do believe just a couple days ago, maybe last week, It Ends With Us has a movie, and also it just started being able to be watched in theaters, which is kind of exciting. I have never obviously read the book, so I don't know what to expect with this series. Hopefully I read both of these and enjoy both of them. I know a lot of people said that Colleen Hoover has gotten them into reading. I've had a little bit of hit or miss with Colleen Hoover. For the most part, I like her books. They're like 4 stars, except for Verity was 5 stars for me. I've actually had this picked out for a while for my TBR before I even knew about a movie, and now since there is a movie, I may want to watch it later, so I kind of want to know what the book is about. And also, since I have both of them, why not just go ahead and read both of them? Technically, with my TBR, I had It Starts With Us. I thought this was the first book in the duology. That's how much I know about the series. I don't know much about it at all, except for, if I remember correctly, this is about domestic violence or something like that, or it has that in there. And then obviously there's a movie, and apparently there's something at the end of the book that makes people either cry or audibly gasp, especially in the movies. So I don't know what to expect about this book or both of these books. Like I said, I hope to read both of them and hope to love them. For the most part, I'm just gonna mood read and have fun with them. So I hope you guys all enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're 24 pages into this book already. Colleen Hoover is not shy about writing about certain things, which technically, because I've read both a thriller side of her, which let me tell you, Verity was definitely very descriptive on some stuff, and then also reading her romance side, I technically already knew that, but still, we're 25 pages into this. Chapter 2 finally, and there's always a specific roommate. I'm gonna go sit by the pool and maybe read a little bit, but 25 pages, that's not bad. I'm back from swimming, and I just want to say I made it to 91, which is pretty great, honestly. And one thing I totally forgot about that I did technically remember about as soon as I seen it was the main character writes journal entries or diary entries, but she wanted to be different and not like everybody else. So instead of like, Dear Diary, she said that she wrote them to Ellen DeGeneres. All right, of all things that you could have done, that is probably the weirdest, but okay, whatever. I don't know what to think about this book because it's not a bad read. All of her books I can read very easily and like don't have to put any thought into, which is really great. But at the same time, it's one of those that Ryle and the main character Lily are confusing me. If Ryle wants Lily, then say so. If Ryle doesn't want Lily, then back off. Instead of a back and forth, like, oh, I want you, I don't, to a point, because it's more one-sided than not. And also they have different futures or goals or aspirations in life, and they both don't want the same thing. I know how the story, I feel like, is going to, like, at least they're going to get together, but at the same time, I also wonder if part of what happened with her father is some of his traits. Not 100% positive though. I'm going to stop reading, head downstairs, and get in the truck with my husband. I just wanted to do a quick little update. Hello everybody. Last time I updated, I had hit page 90 or 91, and I'm now to 148, 149. I read a little bit this morning, about 20 or so pages, and then I've been reading just off and on for the past couple days. It hasn't been too many days, just about 2. My thoughts so far on this book. First, I guess I can say I do enjoy like the pacing. For some reason, it's very bingeable and it's easy to read, easy to fly through. I don't know if it's because you don't really have to use brain power. The other thing about it is it's a little bit where I'm still standing on who I think Ryle might end up be, or how his character might be like. So I'm kind of waiting, like I'm on edge, waiting for something to happen, because I just feel like I have his character a little bit more figured out. But other than that, I'm reading this book really easily. I'm flying through, which is very great. I'm gonna sit here, cool down a little bit, because we were outside for a birthday party for a while, and I just kind of want to read, maybe get to page 200, if not maybe 220. Let's see how much we can tackle. technically on page 138, 139, it was the beginning of chapter 11. We started with all these letters that she wrote as like diary entries to Ellen. I don't want to fully spoil it, but basically it's about a guy when she was living with her parents who basically lived very closely. They rode this bus together to school, and we're getting to one of the final couple chapters because she just had something come up that reminded her of him, and so I'll just say it as she's revisiting her diary entries. And so we're getting a glimpse of that, and I totally forgot when I first started reading that I was back into a different timeline basically, and I was sitting there really confused because I still thought we were in present time with Ryle. So it took me a little bit to remember what exactly I left off on, and also I'm to the point where I kind of want to keep reading of that. I know eventually we're going to go back to that, but now we are back in the present tense and we are learning more. But I feel like there's two different plots that I feel like this book can follow. No spoilers. I will say we could either have Lily be with this one person and this is how the book ends. Maybe there's some bad things in there. Maybe they live happily ever after. And then there's Lily on another path, let's say. Maybe with somebody, maybe not. Maybe that she knows, maybe that she's never met. And they reunite in Boston and end up eventually along the ways getting together and then getting there happily ever after. I honestly have no clue which one would be more correct, and I also don't know if one of them is just more made up than the other, because right now I have my suspicions and I feel like both of them could be correct and both of them could be completely wrong. I feel like I've shown y'all the sunset so many different times, but it has been so beautiful and it's been so nice. It's finally cooled off a lot because today was really hot and muggy and humid, and it was supposed to rain and thunderstorm again, like in a lot of my reading vlogs here lately. But I'm on page 173 and I just had to look ahead. Page 208 is when we go back to the letters, and for whatever reason I am so excited to get back to that letters. I just want to know what exactly happens. I want to know about the past history, and I want to know if there was something bad that happened. I figured there might be, because I think it kind of got spoiled in the beginning by technically Colleen Hoover when you first get into it, but I might move in here soon and continue reading inside the house. Hi everybody, it's been a couple days, and I think last time I recorded I was on page 170 something. I think it was like 175. I'm a little bit farther, about 120 pages almost, because I'm on page 290, 291, chapter 27 now. I've just been kind of reading more so at night for the last couple nights, especially last night. I got really into this book. I probably read about 60 or so pages of that 100 pages, because I read from like midnight to 1, almost 2 a.m. I was really into this book, and it wasn't so much of like, oh my gosh, I love this book so much, which don't get me wrong, I think it's really easy to read and I do like it, but obviously with the topics and stuff, it's a little bit different, and there was a lot of stuff going on between that. So there are a few things that I kind of want to update, or at least just talk about. The first was the last letter and diary entry. It was around page 208, and I finally got to read about what happened with the guy that she met when she was younger in like the past tense or the past timeline. And I figured so much would happen between her dad. I figured that would happen to a point, not to the extent. I thought it was not going to evolve anything physical, like physical object, let's say, but I figured that was gonna come about and that was going to happen. Also, I felt like I was kind of happy to finally be done with writing to Ellen. It was nice at the moment to get the backstory, but pretty much I never read the Dear Ellen part. I pretty much skipped it. The next thing that is so ironic and so cliche, and not just her books, all of Colleen Hoover's books so far that I've read, or at least 2 different series, but going to Las Vegas for one thing in particular. And if you know, you know. For me, we just came from Las Vegas since we literally lived there for a couple years for the military. And one of the biggest things, obviously, besides people coming just to have fun and gamble, the next cliche thing is the Little White Chapel. This is the second series now that Getting Hitched in Vegas has come up, and I'm just like, why? Why is she obsessed with Vegas? Because honestly, if you were to have a serious conversation with me, you would pretty much know how much Vegas is nothing special, very terrible. Maybe at the most it's fun for a vacation for like a week at most. Otherwise, I don't recommend going there at all. So I think maybe Colleen Hoover might have like an obsession with either Vegas or just likes to put that in, but it's very cliche to me and it makes me really roll my eyes physically and it just kind of annoys me. I think because I live there. So it's a lot different when you physically live there and you see stuff versus not living there. The next thing that made me roll my eyes and also go, why?
die. That's cliche.
Somebody being named after somebody else, but instead it's two E's. Like, you're gonna have a baby, name it something else. Name it after somebody and put an extra E at the end. That's just kind of dumb. That's my opinion though, I guess. And then next we get to the fact of somebody, I can't spoil who, and I can't spoil what exactly happens. They pick up on something. There's like a magnet on the fridge, and there's this article in the newspaper, etc., insert whatever, and how things escalate from that situation. Just the basically putting two and two together, but also taking it farther, escalating it. If you read the book, you know. And with that being said, also the excuse of someone's past and why potentially blackout was a thing or is a thing. You know, everybody goes through, some people really go through some stuff, either as a kid or as an adult. That doesn't give you an excuse though. As an adult especially, you need to be mature and you need to figure out that stuff and get back on track. For me, I just don't feel like it's really an excuse. And I also think that technically Lily has done a good job as of right now, as far as I am in the book, because she is at somebody else's apartment or house technically. I feel like she's doing a great job and not spending more time than she needs to. I'll just put it like that. I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything. It's really hard because I feel like if I say anything at all, it's going to be very obvious who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. So, especially since this is a very popular, very hyped up book. Like I said, I'm on page 290, 291, and we are getting ready to actually go. So I don't know how much more I'm going to read, but I just wanted to go ahead and update because I do want to read off and on. I probably won't get to record much just because we are going to be driving and busy, but I just wanted to let y'all know my little update. Hello everybody, it's a new day. Sorry if it's a little bit loud. My husband's actually brush hogging by the pond on my family farm. We're actually up here. We've been doing work for the last couple days. I did finish It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. I will fully update. I am so sorry I didn't get to that. I want to record my husband because I'm also doing a vlog of us just kind of working on the farm. Nothing too crazy. I want to get more video clips of him right now. I will be sitting here and reading this, and then eventually I will update and give my thoughts on It Ends With Us and also talk about It Starts With Us. So it's been a fun couple days. James and I got some snacks and some drinks, and Josh is down there still brush hogging by the pond. Hello everybody, I think you guys have been waiting for an update, and boy do I have one. So last time I kind of updated, I said how I wanted to sit on the back of the truck while my husband was brush hogging over at my family farm, and that I had finished It Ends With Us and I had started It Starts With Us. So let me actually wrap up my review and also my thoughts on it. First off, I have to say, with everything going on in the book itself, there were some things that obviously with a heavier topic book, and sometimes if you've went through it or not, it still is going to stick with you just a little bit. And since there is a movie, I'm excited to go watch it whenever. I might have to wait till it comes out more so on like Hulu or something like that. But I have to say, I did not hate this book at all. I actually really enjoyed it, and it was super easy to read. It was very fast paced, and there was of course some bad things that happened in it, but at the same time I'm so happy that it worked out the way it did. I don't want to spoil anything, and also I love how it ended. I really don't have too many complaints about it. I think Colleen Hoover actually did a really good job on this book. This book, however, I think it's one that it deserves a little bit of hype that it does have. I'm not saying it should be overhyped, I'm just saying that it does deserve some hype. It is actually really good, and I like how fast-paced it is, just because I don't know if it's because of how her writing is, the type of writing, and this isn't the type of book either to make you actually use your brain or think. You're just basically reading. It's very simple. Obviously with heavier topics, you're also kind of a little bit more invested to see what the character does or how maybe she gets out or if she stays, etc., etc. So I have to say I really enjoyed this, and I think it is kind of worth the hype, to be honest. 4 stars. And now let's get into It Starts With Us. This book I can't talk too much about because no matter what, if you know about this book, since it comes second, it does spoil a lot of things that happen in the first, and I just don't want to spoil a bunch of things. I am actually on page 112, 113. I have been reading this for just a couple days, not too many days, but I read I think about 40 pages when I last filmed, and then I read from page 40 or 50 or so all the way to 112 this morning. And I have to say I really enjoy it so far as well. This one is the more have fun. It's not so serious. It might be serious in some ways, or more so like maybe the topic from book one might arise a few times, but honestly so far it's just more of like the I'm here to have fun. Again, don't care much for the letters, but as of how it's going right now with the person she's with, not physically with, but the person who's like the second main character in this book, I like the letters that he has. I don't really have a complaint. I have a couple theories about what happens with a certain business of his, or at least two of them. I feel like I have a little bit of an understanding of who might be behind them, and I have my suspicions. I don't want to spoil it because I feel like if I talk too much about it, you'll know who I'm talking about, so then you'll know how the last book ends, and then also you might know that something else happens if you've read the first book but haven't read this book. So I'm gonna try and keep this very short and sweet. I probably won't update as much with this book, but just know I'm loving it just as much. It's just a totally different book in a way. That's my thoughts so far on this book. Hello everybody. I feel like the last time I updated I was just over page 100, so I feel like it's time to do another update because I've been reading off and on for the last couple days, and I am exactly at page 200 and 201, and there's not really much I necessarily want to update. I just know that there's a whole new plot in this book. Well, not a whole plot, but Colleen wrote in with one of the main characters, somebody of importance, which I feel like now will become a everyday person in the book basically, and he will stay and he will just be involved in I'm gonna say he's the fourth person to be like a main character, main person in this book, which I'm not necessarily mad about since this was more of a didn't have a plot already. It was just like their happy ever after, so I feel like it's kind of an okay plot. It's just one of those that it was just kind of random at the same time. It's not necessarily like the last book where I feel like it'll be like 4 or so stars, but I feel like it's just a perfect little fast read. Get to finish out the duology, get to have another book tackled this year and also this month. So there's not really much I feel like I need to update about this book, and I hope that's okay. But I'm gonna sit here and try. There's only like 330 or 350 pages, I do believe. No, there's only like 318 pages of this book. Well, I want to sit here and maybe try and get to 250 or so. If it's possible, I might be able to get to or at least around 300. I just wanted to do an update to keep reading because I know I haven't talked much about this book because I just don't really know what to talk about. There's not necessarily things happening, and the things that have happened, there's only like 4 or 5 things. They're of course too much that I can't talk about them because I'll just spoil this entire book, so whatever. Sometimes we love the shorter updates than me talking and rambling for 5 or so minutes. I just remember what I left off on last night because I was exhausted and needed to go to bed. And I have to say, it was one of those that I really didn't want to put the book down. I wanted to keep reading, and I was so intrigued because they're having serious conversations about their past. And the last time, basically, she wrote a letter, and the last time they talked for the most part, at least when they were kids. And I'm gonna read you a couple sentences, and one of the last things that he was talking about was their last time when he was, how do I put it without spoiling it? Basically, when he was somewhere because of somebody in her family, let's say. And out of context is what these are. If you read the book, you might know, but hopefully this is not spoiling it. He says, I remember her exact words. She said, "The law is on his side, honey. No one turns him in, not even his wife." That intrigued me to keep reading, and I think technically I'm about to finish. Yep, I'm about to finish this chapter, and I just could not stay awake. I was crying. I was so tired. Oh snap, I guess hints of the first book are making a comeback. See, like these letters I'm okay with. It was the Dear Ellen letters that I just didn't care about, but when somebody writes her a letter, I actually really like that. I'm gonna take a quick minute and I'm gonna actually head out with my husband. I only read to 2:15, so not necessarily too much, but also I'm to chapter 25, so that's a good start. 15 pages, not that many more pages left. We're back home. I've just read just a little bit more. I'm only on page 226, so not too much more. And I'm just saying, hypothetically, people can follow other people in vehicles, or they can even put trackers. I'm not saying that's the case, but it would not surprise me if a certain somebody did either of those two things, especially since we're ending the chapter. And I have kind of spoiled the text message that's on the next page because it's the very first sentence, and it says, "You disappoint me." I feel like something happened to where he knows. Right now, the Bobcat music or the Mountain Lion music is very fitting for what's going on in this book because I just got to the point where Ryle shows up at somebody's restaurant. What is going on right now? I want to know how this ends so bad, but I also just stopped reading and I just wanted to come on here and say how fitting that music was for a second. All right, I came upstairs. I pretty much got ready for bed if you can't tell. And I'm also on chapter 29, page 260. I have about 60, 70 pages left. I'm not going to record any more tonight, but I am going to sit up here and try and finish this book, especially since my husband's going to be watching videos right next to me. My goal is to finish it tonight. It would be a huge accomplishment if I did, and then no matter what, tomorrow I will update to tell you if I did or did not, and potentially close out this entire video. Alright everybody, I'm here to finally end out this video. Also, I feel like I always record, at least during Caraval, I had 2 different videos that I caught a bunch of thunderstorms, and as of currently, it's very hot, very humid, it's a little bit still, and it's getting ready to storm, at least over there on the other ridge. Not so much on this ridge, but if we're lucky, maybe it'll come by. So sorry about any noise, you might hear a little bit of thunder. Right now, you might actually get some wind. The breeze has been going on and off when it isn't still. As I last left off, I think I had about 70, maybe 60 pages left of It Starts With Us, and I have to say I finally finished it. It was not that night, it was actually the next morning. I think I had about 20 or 30 pages left, and I just, for the life of me, could not finish it. And I have to say, it was a pretty decent book. It wasn't necessarily one of my favorites. It was not bad at all. It was about 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was a great conclusion to the duology, for sure. That thunder. I think it's a good book to also recommend. And then of course you already know my thoughts on It Ends With Us. This was like a 4-star. That lightning, that was so beautiful. It just struck down right behind the barn pretty much. This was 4 stars, a little heavier topics, but also it was done really well. The lightning right now is so beautiful. I wish I wasn't doing this so that you could actually see it. But yes, I enjoyed this. I think this is definitely a good book to recommend, obviously, if you can read it, I guess you could say. I'm never really a person who really cares about trigger warnings. This, as a series, was a pretty decent series, as much as it's maybe hated upon. I don't know about the movie. I've yet to watch the movie. I am excited to watch the movie, but I've also heard a lot of controversy with Blake Lively. There's controversy and everything revolving around Colleen Hoover, even if it's a book, a movie, a coloring book, or whatever. All right, I moved a little bit because the wind started to pick up. So let me do this outro real quick. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Be sure to click back on any past videos or playlists that I had. And as always, I hope to see you in another video here on my channel, and God bless.